Okay, we have another nugget coming at you, and this nugget, we're going to talk about communication. And I like to start off the nuggets with a joke, but this time it's just going to be a cute little quote instead of a joke. And the quote is by Lily Tomlin, and here's the quote. I always wanted to be somebody, but now I realize I should have been more specific. So I think that's a cute little quote, and it ties in perfectly to our topic of communication. Real quick, I'm going to give a shout out to Tom Johnson from NAE N1. I was just at a conference where Tom gave a speech, and part of his speech I'm going to use in this. I think he was on a little bit different of a topic, but one of the charts we're going to show you and the numbers we're going to go through came from Tom, and he did a really good job. So thank you, Tom. Now let's talk about some communication. Your success is directly correlated to your ability to communicate. If there is one common theme I'm always preaching to my team, it's communicate, communicate, communicate with each other. In fact, I like to say over-communicate with each other. I would much rather see over-communication than under-communication. I think it's hard to communicate too much, especially when you're working in a group or with a team. And it's even more important if you're leading that group or team. Communication makes everything go much more smoothly. Avoiding communication is a guaranteed recipe for failure, or at minimum, making the task or project much, much harder, especially, like I said, if you're the leader of the team or project. People don't want to follow people who don't share a clear message of what they expect or what the mission or vision is. So here's a quick test everyone can take that's very simple that I think will show some of the power of communication. I think that this test shows the power of communication in a really simple way too. So in a few seconds, you're going to see a screenshot of a bunch of numbers. And when it pops up, you can pause the video and print that screen. In fact, print the screen twice because you're going to need 2 clean copies because we're going to take the test twice. For those of you that are not going to take the time to print the screen, hopefully you'll still get the point by doing it in your head. But at least pause the video when I say pause and try to count how many numbers you can get to and record that. For the first part of this test, take your first sheet out, and when I say go, you're going to circle as many numbers as you can going in sequential order from 1 to as high as you can get in 30 seconds. So time yourself for 30 seconds and start at 1 and then go to 2. So, okay, here's the screenshot again. Pause and print that off real quick, but don't cheat and start looking at the numbers yet. Okay, now that you have it printed, start at 1 and circle as many numbers as you can going from 1 to 2 to 3, etc. So pause the video and do this when I say ready, set, go. Total up how many numbers you were able to count in order and write that number down. Next, you're going to grab that second sheet of paper with the same numbers on it. And this time, I'm going to communicate a little more information with you about how to do a better job on this test and see if that communication helps you do better. Now, I want you to take a look at that sheet. Do you notice that it's kind of broken up into 4 different boxes? I think we'll have a screenshot here that shows you 4 different boxes. Now, look at each of those boxes. Notice that each box has certain numbers in them. And notice that one box has the number 1 in it. And the next box has the number 2 in it. And then the next box has the number 3 in it. And then the final box has the number 4 in it. And you'll see, notice again, that the box containing number 1 contains the number 5. And the box containing number 2 has the number 6. There's a pattern here. If you follow that pattern, you're going to be able to get more of the numbers when we retake the test, because you'll know the order to go in. So let's try taking the test again now that you have more information, since I have taken the time to communicate with you. We'll see if this communication makes you better at the task at hand. Okay, get ready to pause and take 30 seconds to see how many numbers you can get the second go round. So pause the video, ready, set, go. By now, you'll easily see that the extra communication I gave you probably doubled your results. Think about that. Just a little extra communication and boom, double the results. This is a simple, easy example of how communication is critical to high performance. So let's wrap this nugget up. Whether you're in F&I and need to communicate with your sales team, office staff, or management team, whether you're working with clients trying to get them to purchase your product or service, Even if you sit at the top of the food chain in your company, communication is key. If people don't know what the vision or mission is, if they don't know why your product or service is good for them, or they simply truly don't understand where you are coming from or the task at hand, you're not going to perform at the highest levels. The best salespeople, teammates, and leaders all know how important communication is. They study it, they get advice on it, they watch things on it, and they learn from the best and constantly practice communication. I have a favorite saying that I like to use often, and it goes like this. There's 2 ways to communicate. 1, you can explain things so that people might understand what you're saying. Or 2, you can explain things in a way that it's impossible for people to misunderstand what you were saying. Think about that. Then go out and practice, and get better at your communication. Top performers are all excellent communicators. Okay, let's recommend a book and finish this nugget up. Patrick Lencioni is one of the most unbelievable authors I've read. I recommend you read all of his books. They're all absolutely amazing. And I'm going to recommend you read his book called Getting Naked in this nugget. I think this book puts a great spin on communication. Basically, he teaches you in this book to not be afraid to be wrong or look silly when you need to communicate with others. Being vulnerable and not knowing everything is an asset in communication. This is a fantastic read, and it's also not very long. So check out the book, Getting Naked. It's only like 230 pages. And then start working on over-communicating in your world, and have a great week.